What's the difference between being busy and being, well, effective? We all want to get things done, right? But this book asks if we're even climbing the right ladder.
Welcome to the Gist Gab podcast.
And today we're digging into a real cornerstone of personal development. I mean, millions of copies sold, but you still hear people say, yeah, I read it, but how do I actually live it? We're talking about Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
That's a classic.
It really is. And look, this isn't just, a list of productivity hacks. It's more like a whole framework, a deep one for personal and professional life.
Absolutely. It looks simple on the surface, maybe deceptively so.
Right. And that's kind of why we wanted to talk about it today. To really unpack these habits, get beyond the buzzwords, and see how they can genuinely, enrich your life day to day.
Go from just knowing them to actually using them.
Exactly. So let's start at the beginning. What's the big problem Covey sees? What's he tackling right out of the gate?
Well, he observed something pretty common, I think. Lots of people achieve what looks like success on the outside. The good job, the busy schedule.
The checkbox is ticked.
Exactly. But inside, there's often this struggle, maybe a lack of real fulfillment, or relationships feel a bit strained, or you just feel kind of disconnected from a deeper purpose.
Like climbing that ladder only to find it's against the wrong wall.
That's the classic analogy he uses, yeah. And people often look for quick fixes, right? New techniques, new apps.
Oh, definitely. The next shiny object.
But those deeper issues, the feeling of misalignment, they don't really go away.
So what's his answer? He has this core idea, the inside-out approach.
Yes. This is really fundamental. Covey argues that genuine effectiveness, both personally and with others, has to start from within.
Okay.
It's not about trying to change your circumstances or manipulate people first. It's about looking inward at your character, your motives, how you see things, your paradigms.
Paradigms, yeah, we'll get to that.
Right. You build that strong internal foundation first, and then you start seeing meaningful, sustainable changes in your actions, your relationships, everything.
That makes intuitive sense. But he also talks about this big historical shift, doesn't he? Something about moving from a character ethic to a personality ethic. What's that about?
Yeah, that's a fascinating piece of context. He argues that historically, success was more associated with the character ethic. Think core virtues: integrity, humility, courage, fairness, patience. That was seen as the foundation.
The bedrock.
The bedrock, exactly. But then, maybe around the 1920s or so, the focus shifted towards what he calls the personality ethic.
Which is more about?
More about public image, social skills, specific techniques, charm, attitude, how you appear to others, essentially.
Okay, I see the difference.
Now, Covey isn't saying personality skills are useless. They have their place. But relying only on them, without the underlying character, often leads to, superficial fixes. You might learn a technique to influence someone.
But if you're not trustworthy?
Exactly. It eventually falls apart. The character ethic provides the roots.
That's a really powerful distinction. But, it does make me wonder, especially today, we live in this world of social media, personal branding, image and techniques. That personality ethic seems so important for getting noticed, for quick wins. Is the character ethic on its own really enough anymore? Or is it more nuanced?
That is such a great question, and it hits on a key point of discussion around Covey's work now. You're right. While he absolutely prioritizes character as foundational, you can't deny the immediate impact of personality-based strategies in our world.
Right. It feels like you need both sometimes.
I think that's a fair interpretation. Think about someone like Robert Cialdini and his principles of influence. Those are powerful techniques, often personality-driven. So maybe true effectiveness today isn't strictly either. You need that deep character for resilience, for authenticity, but maybe integrating certain communication skills or understanding personality dynamics gives you a more complete toolkit.
A multifaceted approach, character and smart strategies.
Possibly. It's definitely about finding a balance that feels authentic, but is also, effective in the modern landscape.
Okay. And you mentioned paradigms earlier. That's another big concept for Covey, right? How we see the world.
Huge. Paradigms are basically our mental maps. The lenses, the assumptions through which we interpret everything, ourselves, other people, life events, and they shape our behavior, often unconsciously.
He uses that image, doesn't he? The one that can look like a young woman or an old woman?
Yes, that's the perfect illustration. Two people can look at the exact same thing but see something totally different based entirely on their prior conditioning or perspective.
It really shows why understanding where someone else is coming from, their paradigm, is so crucial. We assume our map is the territory.
We do, and we're often wrong. which leads nicely into another foundational idea, the PPC balance.
Ah, the goose and the golden egg. I love that one. So simple, so clear.
It really nails it, doesn't it? So P is production, the golden eggs. These are the results you want, the goals you achieve. PC is production capability. That's the goose itself. It's the asset, the resource, the ability that produces those results.
Okay, so PC could be my health, or a key relationship, or maybe my team skills, or even a piece of equipment.
Exactly. Anything that generates the P. And the core idea is balance. If you focus only on maximizing P, just grabbing more golden eggs, pushing harder for immediate results without nurturing PC,
You wear out the goose.
you kill the goose eventually.
Right.
You neglect your health, your relationships fray, your team burns out, your tools break down. It leads to long-term problems, long-term inefficiency. You have to maintain the capacity to produce.
It seems so obvious, but it's easy to forget in the heat of the moment.
It really is. And this sets the stage for the habits themselves, which Covey structures along what he calls the maturity continuum.
Right, moving from dependence to independence to interdependence.
Precisely. It's a progression. The first 3 habits are about achieving the private victory, moving from being dependent on others or circumstances to becoming independent and self-reliant.
Okay, let's dive into those. Habit 1, be proactive. This sounds straightforward, like take initiative, but I get the feeling Covey means something deeper.
He does. Being proactive, in his sense, is fundamentally recognizing that between stimulus and response, we have the freedom to choose. Our behavior is a product of our conscious choices based on values rather than just our conditions or feelings.
So it's not just about doing things, it's about taking responsibility for your response to things.
Exactly. Reactive people are driven by feelings, circumstances, other people's behavior. Proactive people own their response. They choose their weather, so to speak. It's rooted in that powerful idea. I am responsible for how I react.
And part of that is focusing your energy effectively. He talks about the circle of influence.
Yes, crucial distinction. We all have a wide range of concerns. Things we care about, worry about, wish were different. That's the circle of concern.
Health, the economy, what other people think.
All sorts of things, many outside our control. Proactive people, however, focus their time and energy primarily on their circle of influence, the things they can actually do something about.
Their job performance, their attitude, how they treat their family.
Right. And the amazing thing is, by focusing your energy on what you can influence, your circle of influence actually starts to expand.
Yeah.
You become more capable, more impactful. Worrying about things you can't control just drains energy.
That makes a lot of sense. Take control where you can. Okay, so once you're proactive, habit 2 is begin with the end in mind. This involves 2 creations. Sounds a bit philosophical.
It can sound that way, but the practical application is huge. The idea is that everything is created twice. First, there's a mental creation, a plan, a blueprint, a vision, like an architect designing a house.
The thought.
The design. Then second, there's the physical creation, actually building the house. Habit 2 is all about taking conscious control of that first creation.
Meaning, if I don't decide what I want the end to look like, someone or something else will.
Precisely. Life will happen to you by default. You'll follow scripts given to you by family, society, circumstances. Beginning with the end in mind means defining your own destination, your own values, what truly matters to you.
And that's where the slightly morbid-sounding funeral visualization comes in.
Yes. It sounds stark, but it's powerful. Imagine your funeral. What would you want people to say about you? What difference do you want to have made? What qualities do you want to be remembered for?
Wow, okay. That definitely forces clarity.
It cuts through the noise, doesn't it? It helps you identify your deepest values and goals, ensuring your daily actions, your second creations, are actually building toward that meaningful end. You're living life by design, not default.
And this leads directly to writing a personal mission statement.
Exactly. It flows naturally from habit 2.
Yeah.
The mission statement isn't just, a corporate slogan for your life. It's meant to be your personal constitution.
Your guiding principles.
Your guiding principles, your core values, your sense of purpose written down. It becomes a stable framework, a reference point for making important decisions, for staying on track when life throws curveballs. It reflects your unique vision.
So if you have this mission statement, this end in mind, what does that mean for what we choose to center our lives on? Covey talks about different centers, like centering on your spouse or money or work.
Yes, and he points out the potential pitfalls of these common centers. For example, if your life is entirely spouse-centered, your emotional stability might hinge completely on their mood or approval.
Okay, I can see that.
Or if you're money-centered, your sense of security and self-worth might constantly fluctuate with your bank balance. If you're work-centered, what happens if you lose your job? These external centers are inherently unstable.
So what's the alternative?
He advocates for being principle-centered, centering your life on timeless, universal principles like fairness, integrity, honesty, human dignity.
Things that don't change based on circumstances.
Exactly. Principles provide a solid, unchanging core. They offer consistent guidance, genuine security, because it comes from within, wisdom, and a stable source of personal power, regardless of what's happening externally.
That's a profound shift. Okay, so you're proactive, habit 1. You know your destination, habit 2. Now habit 3. Put first things first. This sounds like time management, but again, probably deeper.
It's really about self-management. Based on your principles and purpose from habit 2, it's the practical day-to-day execution.
And this is where the famous time management matrix comes in, with the 4 quadrants.
Yes, Quadrant shook is urgent and important crises, deadlines. Quadrant third is urgent but not important. Many interruptions, some meetings, popular activities. Quadrant seek is not urgent and not important time wasters.
We all know quadrant 4.
Yes. But the key, Covey argues, is Quadrant 2, important but not urgent.
Okay, what lives there?
This is where the real leverage is. Things like relationship building, long-term planning, exercise, learning new skills, preparation, preventing problems before they become crises.
The stuff that builds your PC, your production capability.
Exactly. Effective people focus on Quadrant 2. They minimize time in 3 and 4. And by proactively working in 2, they actually shrink Quadrant I, because they prevent many crises from happening in the first place.
But quadrant 2 activities don't shout for attention like quadrant I or third do.
They don't. That's why it requires discipline. It requires consciously scheduling time for Quadrant 2 and learning to say no to things that aren't truly important, even if they seem urgent.
Saying no can be hard.
It's essential for effectiveness. And Covey connects this to an evolution in thinking about time management itself.
Oh yeah, how so?
He traces like 4 generations, from simple notes and checklists to calendars and appointment books, then to prioritizing based on values, which was a big step, to the 4th generation, which is what Habit 3 embodies. It's not just about managing time. It's about managing yourself in relation to your priorities, values, goals, and relationships. It integrates everything.
Much more holistic. And part of managing yourself effectively, especially to free up time for Quadrant 2, must involve delegation. He makes a distinction there too, right? Gopher versus stewardship.
A critical distinction. Gopher delegation is basically telling someone exactly what to do and how to do it. Go fetch this.
Yeah.
It's micromanaging.
Been there, done that. Not fun on either side.
Right. It doesn't really empower anyone. Stewardship delegation, on the other hand, focuses on the results, not the method.
How does that work?
You clarify the desired outcome, set clear guidelines and parameters, identify available resources, establish accountability, and define the consequences, good and bad. But then you give the person the freedom and responsibility to figure out how to achieve the result.
So you trust them.
You trust them. It requires more time up front to set up, but it empowers the other person, develops their skills, leverages their creativity, and frees you up significantly for higher level tasks. It builds capability PC.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. It's investing in people. So these first 3 habits, proactivity, begin with the end in mind. Put first things first, they build that inner strength, that private victory of independence.
Exactly. You've built character, clarified purpose, and learned self-discipline. Now you're ready to move outward into the public victory, the realm of effective relationships and collaboration.
Which starts with habit 4. Think win-win. This sounds nice, but is it always practical?
Covey argues it's the only truly viable long-term approach in interdependent situations. It's not just being nice, it's a mindset, a philosophy based on seeking mutual benefit in all human interactions.
Like opposed to?
As opposed to win-lose, I win, you lose, lose-win, I lose, you win being a doormat, or lose-lose, where conflict drags everyone down. In relationships where you need ongoing cooperation, family, teams, partnerships, win-lose or lose-win eventually damages the relationship and undermines future success for everyone.
But what if you genuinely can't find a solution where both sides feel they've won?
That's where the crucial backup option comes in. Win-win or no deal.
Ah, right. So if we can't find a truly synergistic solution that benefits us both, we agree to disagree agreeably and walk away.
Precisely.
Right.
It takes courage, but it means you don't have to push for a win-lose outcome just to get something. It liberates you. It preserves the relationship, because you weren't forced into a bad deal. It says, our relationship is more important than this one issue.
That requires a lot of maturity. Okay, moving on to habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. This feels like communication 101, but why is it so hard?
Because most people listen with the intent to reply, not the intent to understand. We're formulating our response while the other person is still talking.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all are. Habit 5 demands empathetic listening, really trying to see the world from the other person's point of view, to understand their feelings, their needs, their paradigm, before you try to get your own point across.
So diagnosis before prescription.
Perfect analogy. You wouldn't trust a doctor who prescribed medication without diagnosing the problem first. Same in communication. Once you truly understand the other person, they feel heard and respected, which makes them much more open to hearing and understanding your perspective when you eventually share it.
And this ties into his metaphor of the emotional bank account.
Absolutely. Think of trust in a relationship like a bank account. You make deposits through acts of kindness, keeping promises, being loyal, apologizing sincerely, trying to understand the other person.
Little things matter.
They really do. Consistent deposits build a high trust balance. This means communication is easier, mistakes are forgiven more readily. But withdrawals, like being disrespectful, breaking trust, ignoring someone and deplete the account, if the balance is low or overdrawn, effective communication is almost impossible.
So habit 5 is a major way to make deposits.
A huge way. And Covey also links effective communication back to the classic elements.
Yeah.
Ethos, pathos, and logos.
Credibility, empathy, and logic.
Right. Ethos is your personal credibility, your trustworthiness, built by your character and those bank account deposits.
Yeah.
Pathos is the empathy side, feeling and understanding the other person. Habit 5. Logos is the logic, the reasoning behind your point. He stresses that you need all three, but pathos often needs to come before logos can be effective. Connect first, then reason.
Connect before you correct. Got it. Okay, final habit in the public victory sequence. Habit 6, synergize. This sounds like teamwork, but maybe more elevated.
It's teamwork supercharged. Synergy is the idea that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It happens when people genuinely value differences in perspectives, experiences, opinions.
So differences aren't problems, they're opportunities.
Exactly. Instead of just compromising, where 1 + 1 = 1.5, or tolerating differences, synergy means leveraging those differences to create new possibilities, new insights, solutions that nobody thought of initially.
The third alternative.
That's Covey's term for it. It's not my way or your way. It's a better way that emerges from mutual respect, open communication, and creative cooperation. It requires trust, high emotional bank account, and a win-win mindset, and the ability to truly understand others. Habit 5. It's the pinnacle of interdependent collaboration.
Wow. What a journey through these habits. It really is a comprehensive framework, isn't it? Going from, just fixing surface problems to really building this principle-centered core.
It is. It starts with those foundational private victories, taking charge of yourself, knowing where you're going, managing yourself effectively.
Building independence first.
Right. And then you can successfully move into the public victories, creating win-win outcomes, communicating empathetically, and synergizing with others for results you couldn't achieve alone. It's all interconnected.
It really feels like a shift from just chasing success to building a life of meaning and contribution.
That's a great way to put it. It's about effectiveness in the deepest sense.
So, thinking about that deep effectiveness, and specifically habit 2, begin with the end in mind. Maybe a final thought for everyone listening.
Okay.
If you had to write your own personal mission statement today, maybe just starting simply, what's one core principle that would absolutely have to be in it for you?
Ooh, that's a great question to ponder. Really makes you think about what truly matters.
Definitely something to reflect on.
Well, thanks for joining us on the Gist Gab podcast. We hope exploring Covey's ideas has given you some food for thought on your own path.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep exploring those principles and putting them into practice.